Hello guys, so we've got GPT 5.4 taking the crown intelligence-wise, just barely, but mainly this is a model about agenticness. So we see more and more automation coming in, and we have features such as adjusting course mid-response, and I guess better web research and better maintaining context, which is all very useful because while the codexes were kind of smart and the GPTs were kind of smart, they didn't flow as well as some models out there. Mainly I'm thinking Claude here, but even the Chinese models were catching up quite a bit. And we're going to see that it has greatly improved computer use capabilities and offers 1 million token context, which is kind of pointless. So there were models that came out with a lot of context, like, oh my god, you can like generate like 4 million context in here, but you don't care because it's not good. And which is not the case here. Tool search, and it's apparently the most token efficient reasoning model yet. That's an interesting claim, because relatively speaking, the GPT 5.3 codex was still pretty damn efficient. But we can see that GPT Evolve-wise, this is kind of like how much money it can make in a test. It is a great improvement over codex, and it's more in the line of Claude's here. But just coding-wise, it's kind of the same level as the GPT 5.3 codex, but the big improvement is OS World verified, so 43%, this is the 5.2, to 75. And just to put it into context here, so this is the current leaderboard. I guess it's somewhat outdated, but no point discussing it that much. So we have 63% for the top contenders here. Claude Sonnet 4.5 and Kimi K2.5. And the only better models that came out that are better than these were the 4.6 Claudes and the Codex 5.3, which apparently shares this great result. At least I couldn't tell while using the Codex CLI. I got slightly better in the Tulaton as well. But this bros comp. The thing is that yes, you can automate the browser so easily, right? You can just read the DOM. But I noticed that there is way more anti-bot measures than ever. So I don't know. Feels like we are like at most years away from you having to scan your face and provide your fingerprint along with all your identity papers just to enter a website as a guest. But also a very interesting claim here is that apparently 5.2 kind of won 50% of the time and tied 20% of the time against industry experts. But now they're claiming 70%, right? I guess the Pro was closer. But the point is, now they're claiming 70%. So 80% of the time, you're not worse off using AI. This is assuming you were using extra high. So if you're just asking, like, oh yeah, just tell me some medical advice in 5 seconds, that's not gonna be as good. So this is presumably AI just taking time and possibly taking over an hour just to cook out an advice for you that it well researched. Still, extremely useful. This is actually a great question. If AI is better than a human, would you use AI? Because the self-evident answer would be that of course you would. But partly, humans hire other humans to blame them if something goes wrong. That raises an interesting question. Because if a human makes a mistake, right, they might lose their job or maybe they suffer some kind of other setbacks or whatever. But if AI makes a mistake, then I don't think it's going to be the company who made it is going to get into trouble, but whoever chose to use that AI. At the very least, this is an excellent opportunity for challengers. I'm not sure how this is exactly going to pan out in companies. Also worth pointing out that this is 60 and 70%, right? So people might think that they are not one of those idiots who are in the 70%, right? I'm better than those guys. And essentially, this is exactly what it's telling you. That unless you can afford to hire someone who's the top end of the experts, you might as well go with AI because you're not going to get better advice and work. It's also apparently perfectly good at working. It's interesting though, because Google is trying to put their AI into the spreadsheets and the documents. So unless you can somehow sneak yourself in there, it's going to be a bit of a tricky situation. But also, this might not seem that impressive, but this is what seemingly a lot of people just care about. So it doesn't have to be amazing. It just needs to be perfectly good at what most people do. They're also claiming that it's 33% less likely to hallucinate. But in that category, they're actually not that good. So if you wanted something for that, then you would use Claude, GLM5, or Mimo. Probably not those. So you would use Claude or GLM5, I guess. But even that is not entirely correct, because we have the bullshit benchmark here. And apparently Claude is leading the anti-bullshit benchmark here. And GLM5 is a little bit down, right? So that's not going to be that good. So basically, it means that if you don't want to be bullshitted, that you should just use Claude. I'm not fanboying here. This is just what the stats are showing. Also, it achieves 75%, and in the OS were verified. Basically, tasks it can do on the OS without it giving up or essentially just failing. But 75%, that may sound good, but that means that for every 4 tasks, you need to just interact and like do it for him once. So that's not that great. So this is going to be far, far, far more useful when it gets to the high ends. So it's going to be like 99%. If we're talking about that, then yeah, sure, that's great. But also, what is strictly even the need for AI here? Because think about this. You might write some code, and assuming you can run that code, and that executes deterministically, and that works, then that works 100% of the time. So I would argue, especially if you are doing something that's repeatable, then you would really want to write code and just run that. But I guess in that case would be kind of consider the tools that AI is using. So that's still fine. But my experience would be that instead of trying to get AI to meddle for you, you should be just getting yourself out of the way. If it doesn't need to click buttons or look at pictures, then it's just easy. It's going to be 100% of the time success rate. So there's like an angle here about like getting AI to be useful for work, while simultaneously claiming that AI kind of makes people useless, right? And also the robots are going to make people useless too. So, right. If AI is better than 83% of the experts, or you're better off having AI, then you're not going to need it to make a spreadsheet because you're just not there. So I'm definitely seeing some discord here about like, what is AI supposed to be? Something that just gets rid of jobs, but seemingly that angle is not popular to take, or at least seemingly for these companies, or something that enhances a job, I guess. Like then you can send some emails with AI. But actually it's interesting because they're showing Gmail, while we also have the Gemini icon at the top. The thing is, this is my experience, is that Google will ban you, right? If you start meddling their profit margins, then you will get banned 100%. So presumably what they would do, well, okay, I can tell you what you can possibly do. You definitely cannot make a Chrome extension. They will ban you. Not if you actually value add their browser, that's fine. But if you value add and try to profit off it, then especially if you go on certain sites, then there's a good chance you're going to get banned. Not from making extensions, but that extension is going to get banned. So my point is, if you do automation, you would have to use desktop automation. Then people would have to install some kind of a desktop app, desktop thingy, that automates the browser and your computer, right? I guess this is a lot easier if you own the OS. So Microsoft and Apple is better positioned for this. So yes, I could see if Microsoft puts this into Windows fully, then you can have some automation there. And they can do it. I'm not sure what Apple could do. They're definitely less well positioned. So Claude is not in this race, arguably. They can try to be in it, but they would be starting extremely far. And essentially, Google owns the browser, and Microsoft kind of owns at least Windows. I'm not sure about what you would do on Mac. I mean, you own the platform there, but they don't really have AI they can use. Or of course they can, but they don't have a strict favorite at this point. And what I would suspect is that if Google wants to make money with their AI automation thingy, which I suspect they're gonna make free eventually. They're hoping to sell it now, but I don't think that's going to happen. At least not en masse. So if they did that, then they would make it, maybe theoretically possible, but like there's gonna be like some kind of anti-bot measures, whatever. So it's not gonna work. And keep in mind, the problem is not the tech. Not the tech. You can do this, 100%. But there's money on the line. And by the way, they have these segments about like apparently some company CEOs saying things. Do you think I care about this? And apparently, intelligence-wise, it's not really a big leap. the bigger leap, apparently, they kind of shifted the medium a little bit to the right while shifting the high a little bit to the left. Now, if you want to use the GPT 5.4, you might want to go with medium here, because it doesn't seem to make sense to use high, but you might want to use the extra high, because that is a biggish leap, although you have to consider that it's not going from 0, right? I guess the lesson in life, if you want some good results, then you want to put in any effort at all. Even low is better than anything. And apparently, just quality-wise, so GPT 5.2 extra high, and GPT 5.3 Codex high, and the new GPT 5.4 medium. Okay, this is maybe a bit permissive. If I said high, then it would be closer. It's literally the same point. They have literally the same value, but this is closer. So they have the same quality. This might mean that it's also cheaper to run, but they also raised the price from 175 to 2.5. But it's also extremely good visually, and we're gonna see this later. So we got some kind of roller coaster tycoon-like game. All you would need to do to make this legit, I guess, is to have like 4 directional sprites for the customers, I guess. Also, the theme parks are not really the rides are not really moving. So yeah, but it's fully working. You got RPG game. Oh my god, this is legit. So I can guarantee you there's gotta be like at least thousands, probably more, indie makers who have something so much worse than this. And they were hoping to release it for money. But then you can literally just one prompt this. The pictures look good. And yeah, the GPTs are really good in pictures. This is amazing. I wonder if the willingness to engage in such things will go down just because it is more widely available. Or perhaps it can go up. Because now, if you want to play some kind of game, suppose this is exactly the game you wanted to play before, and you couldn't, because maybe it would be a time or whatever, or you just can't make it. Now, you can. It's right there. Golden Gate flight experience. Okay, 3D. Not the best. Okay, but I guess this was one prompted. Right. You could see that it needs work. And this is kind of the experience you might get with AI, that if it feels like the work is like mostly done, but this is not even like close, right? You would get to this point, even as a human, just by like copying in a bunch of things. Who knows? Maybe in a day, okay? I don't want to say that much. It depends. I mean, if you can just copy in the bridge and you have the boxes in the back and some terrain, that's it. You're gonna get here in a day. But 3D is hard, and I guess we're gonna see AI is getting better at it over time. But the interesting part is that we can fully move the camera. So this is not just a static thing that AI made, but this is live, and presumably in one prompt. It also has this tool search thingy, so it's better at using and finding tools. Essentially means that it uses half as many tokens, which presumably tries to counterbalance the fact that it is more expensive. So apparently it's more efficient, but it's also more expensive. But presumably that efficiency is going to be copied as well. So I'm not sure about jacking the price here. I think they can, but mainly because they are at the top. Otherwise the field is extremely savage. So if you move down here, then you already have cheaper models coming in. Like I guess Gemini Flash would be one, but also you have Kimi, GLM5, I guess Minimax, and Kuven. So basically, those are setting a floor. And anything that comes out that's kind of cheaper, like Gemini 3.1 Flashlight came out a few days ago, but it was not really worth covering because it's 100% dead on arrival. It's completely useless, right? Even compared to like Mimo V Flash, like look at this thing, if it loads. So it's 0.25, and if we compare it to Minimax, it's kind of on the same level, right? This is 0.3 and better, but also compared to Mimo V Flash. So this is just 20%, actually 40% of the price, but actually does more. To not even bring up a Chinese model, we have the GPT-5 mini that actually costs the same, and it's also better. So I don't get it. Arc AGI score is actually very close to Gemini. So we have the Pro version. It's pretty much on the level of Gemini 3 Deep Think. And then we have the regular version, both extra high. that is close to Gemini 3.1 Pro, right? And here we see a bigger difference between the high and the medium model. I guess Flash is still coming up. Embark, not super familiar with that. But then we see the clouds here, the 4.6s, big improvement. Also, a rather big improvement compared to the 5.2s, right? And effectively, they're dominating the cloud models. Kind of. They're still close, right? You can see the high model here, like 3.5, 7%, and then you have 74% for 1.5. So it's not like that far away in price or score. So it's pretty close. But are there any Chinese models here? Right? They're just not here. So they didn't benchmark this one. Only NVIDIA is kind of here a little bit, a cheaper one. Also, we got Gemini Flash here. But this is actually a very interesting one, because you can see that the GPT 5.4 low, and you rarely see the thinking settings compared. So you usually just see whatever the extra high or whatever the highest setting can do, and those are compared. But here you can see that the GPT 5.4 low is kind of comparing to the Gemini 3 Flash. So if you use it on lower setting, that might be okay. Although you might just use it on medium, and that's gonna lead to better results. So that's kind of like double the price. Of course, this is not really comparable, but the result is much better. And suppose this is something that you cared about, then the top Chinese models are pretty much at the bottom, right? So very similar price than Gemini 3 Flash or maybe GPT 5.4 low. Their score is much lower. Kimi 2.5, GLM 5, and the DeepSeek 3.2. Although this one is cheaper, but still the score is just not good. And Grok is not exactly a serious contender either. And we're probably gonna see Gemini 3.1 Flash. Presumably we're gonna see such a model. Like over here maybe? Like this would make sense. Somewhere over here. Coming in. Maybe challenging GPT 5.4 high for less money. That could be a very competitive position. This is a bit of a special benchmark. It's actually more relevant than those like, oh yeah, maybe it's like 2% better or something. We can see that Gemini 3.1 Pro and GPT 5.4 at the very top. And here, the difference between them is going to be more visual. And just to properly understand what we're dealing with here, this is like Kimi K 2.5 and Gemini 3 Flash. Then we can also compare to Gemini 3 Pro. So yeah, these are like using 50,000 blocks, 77,000 blocks, just so we are putting it into perspective. Then I guess we can use Claude 4.6 Opus 2. So this is the best Claude has to offer. And this one is using 20,000 blocks, but of course could depend on the specific thing that we are building. And then we can use, let's just stick with Opus here. And then we can also use Gemini 3.1 Pro. This one is using 90,000 blocks. 90,000 blocks, not bad. But then, and this is the second place, I think current first place, but it's probably going to be toppled by the new guy, GPT 5.4, which is using, and it's taking so long to load even, 462,000 blocks to make this airship. Then we can have something else too. It loads. Gemini 3.1 Pro, 261,000, and this is using 600,000 blocks to make this thing, right? It has an insane amount of detail. Like, I'm using the two best models here, but like let's put it Opus here, just for context. We have 200,000 blocks, not bad. What else we can put in? Like Gemini 3 Pro. This is using, yes, this is Gemini 3 Pro, just for context. This is the best it can do. I'm not even sure what else would be much of a challenger here. I guess we can put in Kimi using the same amount, but again, like look at the quality. It's just not good. So yeah, let's see something else. Team Locomotive. Okay, not bad, not bad at all. So they both look good, but of course these are the best models. 500,000 blocks. This is a skyscraper. Oh, that was just the base of it. Yeah, so we have a lot of detail here. So these are the best models though. So it might not seem that impressive, but we are only comparing these two. But of course, this doesn't have that much detail, right? This is just a, yeah, that actually looks okay. That actually looks okay for a skyscraper. Let's see something more detailed. A treehouse, right? Okay, blocks. So this has 180,000 blocks. So That's a lot more. Gemini 3 Pro. Okay, yeah, 600,000 blocks. They both look good. Like, clearly they are the best models right now. We have Claude Opus 2. That's 36,000 blocks. Okay, not too bad. Now let's see something else. Cozy Cottage. GPT-5.4. Yeah, using 6,000 blocks. And this one is using 125,000. And we can also see that the new flashlight is garbage. What the heck is this? It is just terrible. It's just terrible. I don't know what they were thinking. It's not even much of a comparison there. Okay, this is the cottage. But this kind of shows that, yeah, this is not even usable. So I think at that level, right? GPT 5.2, that's okay. This is a decent comparison. Okay, Cozy Cottage. Most results are not even usable here. Okay, what we have here? Massive wool tree. Yeah. Are using 3 times as many blocks, seemingly. Yeah. This is very blocky. This looks like a proper wool tree, I guess. Although, it's built out of blocks. I'll zoom down. How would others compare? So we have GPT 5.3 codecs here. Okay, that's pretty good too, right? Using half as many, with good result. And this would be the other top contender. Gemini 3.1 Pro, if it loads. Okay. So seemingly, I would say that GPTs are winning this, and nothing really would compare here. Maybe the Claude 4.6 Opus? That's close. Using far less. But it looks weird. It definitely looks weirder. Oh well, let's see what else we have. Floating Island looks good. I say both look good. Using far more detail. The GPT 5.4. Let's see what else we have. Underwater Shipwreck. Okay, is it gonna be bad? Wait, how many blocks is that? 5,600,000? Are you serious? Okay, I guess we were just gonna wait for it to load. Okay, I tried to load it. From what I can tell, it just doesn't fit. We cannot load so many blocks. It's over 5 million. So that's too many. We cannot do that. Let's see something else. Phoenix Rising from Flames. Okay, sure. Why not? Not bad. One was the egg, right? This was the egg first. Okay, I don't know. It seems like it's getting impaled on spikes. So this is gotta be more up to you. Actually, the Gemini 3.1 Pro one has more detail. So I would say the Gemini 3.1 Pro is winning this. But I suspect that most chickens would not look as good. Yeah, this doesn't look as good. It has far less detail. 13,000 blocks. This is like 130,000. So Codex maybe has a chance. Yeah, still kind of half as many. I'm not sure what else. Opus? Still 10 times less. This doesn't look like a Phoenix Rising. And this is Claude's best model. Damn. Okay. I clicked on the castle accidentally. But we're gonna check out the night later. This is a lot of detail. All right. This looks pretty damn good. This is a bit more basic. So I would say they're castles. So these are very simple ones. The only true contender would be Gemini 3.1 Pro. So let's see which guy wins here. They both look good. All right. This is more rounded. I say the Gemini 3.1 Pro is kind of arguably better here. Unless you like blocky castles. In which case, they both look good, right? Let's see the knight in armor. Why not? So we have 800,000 blocks. The other one is 96,000. So it's loading. It's just going to be a platform? No. The guy is standing on a platform. Right? I don't know, man. This guy looks a little derp. Very busty. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Definitely better than the Gemini 3.1 Pro, which is apparently the smartest model out there. I'm not sure what else we can compare it to. This is the best Claude 4.6 Opus can do. So whatever this is doing, the other Claudes are worse. Almost 100 times less detail. Okay, what else we can do? I'm not sure. Nothing else will look good if these look bad. Yeah, I mean, not sure what I can expect from the Flash. New flashlight. Oh my god. Just make it a solid gray tower. Kimi, maybe? This doesn't look good. So this actually just is useful for context, that you can see that making such a thing is pretty damn tricky, right? Most don't even make something that is at all usable. Maybe the ZyGLM. No, this doesn't look good. It's not a very visual model, so I'm not sure what else we can do. Let's see medieval... No, astronaut. Let's see these guys. I guess with some imagination, this could look like an astronaut. I could guess it, but I imagine not all would. What about this Quaven? Okay. It looks more like a robot than an astronaut, I would say. What about the Codex? These models tend to be more optimized for coding. So Yeah, you can still tell, but this has more detail. And apparently, you should just use the GPT 5.4 now instead of the Codex one. So if you used the Codex High before, then you probably should just use GPT 5.4 Medium. If you used the Codex Medium before, I don't know. Then you either upgrade to the Medium. That probably would make sense. Or I'm not sure what else you would do. I think that would make sense. You can just use GPT 5.4 Medium. Maybe there's going to be a GPT 5.4 Codex too. That's going to be more efficient. Okay. I'm not sure about the flag. Yeah, this is exactly what you would see. That some models, they're just like, get more creative. I don't know. Oh, yeah, let's look at a fighter jet. See? Okay. Looks pretty sweet. This looks pretty sweet too. But this is more just fighter jet only. Okay. They're definitely good. So, Codex and GPT 5.4, both winning. Let's look at the Kimi here. Yeah, this is definitely less good. Minimax. Yeah, I don't even know what this is. This is just broken. Gemini 3 Flash. It's very basic, but I guess it got it right. What about the Gemini 3.1 Pro? It's again very, very basic. This is the Pro model, right? Although, this is pretty close. But this is way, way, way more detail, right? Also, we are using 10 times the blocks. Yeah, that's a big difference. So, if you wanted to use AI for making such a thing, then you would probably pick the GPT 5.4 here. I'm not sure what else would you pick. We can see that I accidentally clicked on the GPT 4.0. So, yeah. If you wanted to make such a things in the past, you quickly changed your mind because it was completely useless for it. What about the Zai? Yeah, this is useless too. So I'm not even sure what would be the bare minimum here. Because we see that, yeah, the Kuva model is not useful for this. Zai is not useful for this. Kimi, is Kimi useful for this? I would say this is a fail here. And I'm definitely picking their best models. Their very best ones. As far as I know, yeah, this would be kind of basic. So here the best model would be Gemini 3.1 Pro. It's like, kind of. This would be a very, very far second place. So let's see what Opus can do. I would say Opus is pretty good here for how many blocks it used. But GPT 5.4 is much better. So interestingly, I think the Codex would actually take the second place. Yeah, this was the second best that I saw. Still, this one looks better. 57,000 blocks. Okay, what else we have? The last one. Classic Arcane Cabinet. Okay, we're using 1 million blocks. Ugh. That might just not load again. Will it load? Okay, it loaded. This looks like a proper Arcane Cabinet. Okay, there's a lot of detail here. Oh, arcade. So we've got Space Invaders in there. And the Codex also has... is that a Space Invaders game? I think so. It's just a more basic version of it. And we are using only 260,000 blocks instead of 1,100,000. Okay. What would be a second place in the Space Invader arena? It's building 400,000 blocks. But actually, this is quite telling. But we are using a lot of blocks. And for this, I might just switch away from the GPT 5.4. That we are using more blocks, but it looks worse in the Kuven scenario. So they can use more blocks, but like it needs to look good. What about Zai? This looks terrible. Also, this model, while I had pretty good success with it, I would not say it's good for styling, as you can tell. It actually doesn't have visual capability, or like basically everything else. Well, most everything else. Kimi can do it. These models, I think they can do it. At least the newer ones. The Geminis can do it. Claudes can do it. So yeah, I think they got a visual model, but GLM5 is not one of those. So this looks bad. What about Kimi? Does that look bad too? Yeah, this is completely useless. So these are the best Chinese models, and they're completely useless. I guess we didn't consider Minimax. This one sucks too. So GPT 5.4 versus the Codex one. If it loads, I guess the main challenge is whether it loads. If it loads, then it looks good. So we can compare to Gemini 3.1 Pro. 400,000, like 500,000. Okay, they both look good, but this is nicer. I mean, seriously, Gemini 3.1 Pro, I guess Codex 5.3, but I wouldn't really consider GPT 5.3 Codex a challenger to GPT 5.4. So realistically, you would use GPT 5.4 here. Yeah, they're both going for the Space Invaders, and GPT 5.4 is better at it. And the last contender would be Claude Opus. Well, I guess I didn't consider. Yeah, this is Opus, by the way. As far as I know, that many of the Chinese models aim for copying Opus. And I have nothing against copying, but they need to branch out a bit, I think. So only using 50,000 blocks, so over 20 times less. And this is the best model. So I think realistically, right? I guess we can look at DeepSeek too. This is completely useless. So if you look at the leaderboard, then we can see Gemini 3.1 Pro at the top, followed by GPT 5.4. Established? Isn't it provisional? I guess it's a bit subjective. And maybe I find GPT 5.4 better? I guess it depends. But they are the top two, for sure. Then GPT 5.3 Codex is not really a competitor to the GPT... what did I say? GPT 5.3 Codex is not really a competitor to 5.4, nor the GPT 5.3 Pro or 5.3. And Opus is kind of like a far third here. And Sonnet would be only a slightly cheaper, slightly worse, I guess, Opus. And you would not use the Gemini 3 Pro because you can use the Gemini 3.1 Pro. So that's kind of pointless. Same with the Opus, I guess. And then you have choices with the Xi GLM or Gemini 3 Flash, I guess. But I guess this is cool when 3.5 is an option too. So you have more options in this tier between like 0.5 and $1, I guess. Oh, but I do wonder if these would win or a better model on a lower setting. Because if the Arc AGI 2 leaderboard is anything to go on, by turning it down to medium, I guess the results would go down as well, but you would spend half as much money, which may not actually matter for that task. And the exact comparison would be that the GPT 5.4 Low would cost the same money as the GLM5 while getting a much, much better result. And considering that I have access to the GPT 5.4 thinking, I asked it to make a Heroes Free like a game that can run in the browser. And this is what gave me, after thinking for 6 minutes, this is quite long, very long, okay? But I was a little confused how to hook it up. So we have hooked it up via Codex. And apparently, you also have a fast mode that you can turn on. So you get, I think, like 50% faster replies at 2 times the planned usage, which I will not use at all. This is not something I care about. But if you want active development, this could be extremely useful for you. Interestingly, they kept 5.3 Codex as the default, but I'm not super sure that makes sense. Based on the information that I saw that they provided, it would make sense to go with Medium, which costs a little bit more context than the 5.3 Codex, but it actually gets you better results. So, unless this was bullshit, right? You can see that the low is pretty much the same as before. So 5.3 low and 5.4 low is the same thing, exact same thing. So if you're using the low setting, it pretty much doesn't matter which one you use, right? They're counting latency here, which is kind of odd. But they also claim that the 5.4 is more efficient, but this basically doesn't matter. But what does matter, that apparently at medium, the new GPT 5.4 is better. But even if you use the high setting, it's pretty much the same thing. And this is exactly what we got from the one prompt that I asked it. Let's just see. So no doubt that they did not showcase this. This was just made. So we are on day 1. We have 2,500 gold, 6 wood, 4 ore, 894 hero power. But where's the hero? The turn is me. Don't watch. That's my... Okay, can we get the guys? Okay, apparently I got the guys. So we got the castle on the right. We getting the guys. So this is the town management. We get some griffins. So we are playing castle. Meadow selected. Map inspector. I guess I'm on some kind of grassy land. That's my army. I'm using Blue Banner Lady Mirabelle. 6 moves. But where am I? Oh, that's me, I think. So this requires some imagination. Rally garrison into hero's army and let AI move? Okay. No way. No way. So we can move here. Only up and down. This is my town. This is me. This is a treasure chest. I got the treasure chest. Nothing picked up, right? So we got the army. Start threat scenario. No. Go up. So we can attack the rogue griffins. Sure. Is this auto combat? I think so. Yes. The griffins died. And I lost some militia. Continue campaign. Battle complete. I see that. That is not a click. Continue campaign. Okay. we didn't crash. So I guess we're gonna find the hidden cache, or I guess we can get the. Oh, that's mine. That's my sawmill. Better swiftness. So that's an item, I guess. We found something. Hidden cache yields 500 gold and 1 word. So apparently it had an effect. I scrolled down. So we got some gold. And my town is something I manage over here. I don't think we can enter it. Right. We cannot do that. We can attack more. So we are attacking the battle mages here. And we are losing some dudes. Continue campaign. Let's go up. No, we cannot go up. We are out of moves. And they let AI move. Where's... Oh, the AI is over here. Okay, I'm blind. Can we just beeline and take him out? Defeat. Damn! Your banner has fallen. Unless this is a bug, it is possible that the AI spent their turn just beelining toward my hero and the combat was auto and I lost. So we were playing your hero dies, you lose kind of rules. Damn! Pretty hardcore. Still, I would say, not the worst Heroes game that I've played. And apparently we didn't need much of anything to hook it up. Only we need to put it into React strict mode. It doesn't matter. Also, my experience would be that if you actually want faster replies, then oftentimes your best choice, but it really should be your choice in general, that you use a lower setting. I tend to go with medium, right? That is pretty decent. Of course, that costs less as well. So that's kind of useful for that. But I guess you can turn on the fast setting if you care about that. But you can see that the extra high also takes extra long. So it probably should not be the default thing to go for. And currently does not even make sense, assuming we take this for granted, to use the high setting. How about one thing that I would draw your attention to a little bit is that when you see these benchmarks, usually, you see that it's extra high and max setting every single time. And that might not reflect your experience, because you're not waiting half an hour for every reply. So that is it. Codex still has the double quota, and the main thing to watch out for would be the Gemini 3.1 Flash. But it would need to be something that actually makes sense. Because they released the Gemini 3.1 Flash Lite, and that model is completely worthless. It is not something that makes sense. Maybe if they made it cheaper, then that's the big maybe still, because there are ones at its level. Like it's literally standing next to the GPT-5.4 120B, which tends to cost like 0.04. So they're kind of positioning it against that for 0.25. Otherwise, the value choice might be using a better model on a lower setting. That said, somewhat currently are kind of carried by the double quota that is live till the start of next month, which effectively halves their price, assuming that you actually use it. Kind of makes GPT 5.4 on a medium setting, possibly sometimes higher, the obvious choice to go with. But if they take it back and Gemini 3.1 Flash comes out and the Grok 4.2 comes out perhaps, and the DeepSeek 4 comes out, then the choice might be different.